Hey everyone, I'm Tim.
And I'm the only Luddite in the OSINT world, Chris.
And welcome to the OSINT Output.
Yeah, make sure you turn off your notifications on your phone so we don't find any secrets.
Oh, because of the Zelda thing I got going on?
Yeah, it's really loud. Plus, you gulp really loud. I've been about to smack that Gatorade bottle out of your hand like 3 times now.
Yeah, I put it down before I picked up the mic, so we're good.
Yeah.
That's
You do it while we're on the mic here. The mic goes down every time.
That's a sound for just you and I, Tim. That's not for everybody else.
Yeah, I know you do it when we're playing games too. So
Tim has told me more than once that the way I sound when I drink a fluid, it sounds like the quintessential sound effect for someone drinking a fluid in an animated whatever display.
It's over exaggerated by far. Like his Adam's apple almost touches his nose the way he gulps. Like I can see it visibly in the back of his throat.
But let's be careful about talking about the back of my throat there, dude.
You're the one making it weird.
Certainly not me.
All right, so it's been a while since we've caught up, man.
Yeah, man, we've been busy. We took a little bit of a summer breather, summer break, so we could. Really, we waited till the end of the summer before we took the summer break, so we could get our kids into school and stuff like that. The school has started up. Everyone's busy. We're all over the place. And then you've also started up school alongside your kids.
Yeah, it's funny when they say like I need to do my homework because I can't do this other activity, and I'm like I have a 10-page paper to write this weekend. I'm pretty sure you have time to put that down to go and do your chores today. It's either that or you get no gaming and no internet access.
Yeah.
So they found that out the hard way the other night when they didn't want to clean their room. So, but what about you, man?
So Tim runs the internet in his house like Iran runs their internet. He's got the giant purple button, and it's just a smash to shut it down once everyone starts getting uppity.
Yeah, I have everyone's. Well, we got a bunch of new digital devices recently, but I did have every one of them labeled on my console, so I know exactly who's per MAC address. So I can go in there and just disable it anytime I want to.
He's like Iran over here.
Individually, yeah. What about you, man? Has your daughter wrecked your car yet?
Not yet. It's although I made this mistake the other day. They were going to school to do something at like 6 a.m. like something only seniors do because they're a senior to high school now. And I drove them up there, and then halfway up there, I was like, "You could have just drove yourself. Like, why am I a part of this? You could have drove up there, did your thing, came home, picked up your sibling, and just gone to school. But like, I took you up there, and then I came home, and then took the other one. I was just like, man, this was dumb. And then my kid looked at me too and went, yeah, I could have driven up here. Like, why did you drive me? Like,
the more responsible you are,
or the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the more you realize that, hey, maybe I can still bring my dad and parents along and make them do stuff for me because they love me.
yeah. But I could have just let them run off on their own and be an almost adult in this wild world for an hour and a half.
You thought about getting them a vehicle yet, or letting them get a vehicle?
There's been discussions. I'm holding off because I'm cheap, and insurance is expensive. I have no idea how headphones work right now. They have fallen off my head 3 times.
That was a big yawn, by the way. Don't keep doing that or we'll fall asleep while recording this podcast. And today's is going to be interesting because this is a news story that I've been tracking for a while. And one of the things that I've been considering that AI has and will be always, AI can and always will be used for, which is just misuse of technology.
Well, technology has like 3 purposes. One of them is misuse. One of them is porn. And then the other is to make society better, I guess. Only 2 of them apply.
Yeah. But for this one, one of the more popular AI companies is Anthropic, and their AI model is called Claude, and they have various versions of it. And one of the news stories that got released this past week was that there was a group, or was it just one group of cyber criminals that was using Claude to make ransomware.
That's fantastic.
So they were prompting Claude and saying, "Hey, I need to impact this website or this company. Can you help me?" And of course, Claude would start balking. It would say, "I can't do that. I can't support
Yeah,
that.
I was going to say they should have safeguards in there.
Yeah, morality and ethics." But what you can do is you prompt it the other way. So instead of saying, "Hey, I want to maliciously attack this,"
Oh, it's
website,
I've been attacked.
or you say, "Hey, like here's a sample of my HTML, or here's a sample of this database I created. Can you find any flaws in the code that an actor could potentially exploit?" And they go, "Oh yeah, check out line 237."
Nice.
And it goes through.
So they're bug bountying with Claude and then using that information to create a ransomware to exploit it.
So Anthropic found out about it. And if I read through the news articles here, and we'll crop this later on, we can find out exactly what's going on, because I'll let you read it too.
Oh yeah, that's a whole threat report.
Yeah, by Anthropic. So the report that was released by Anthropic is, oh gosh, how long is this? It is 25 pages, and it has a bunch of different examples of how Claude is being used, because like, Claude is one of those more, I guess, freer models that companies have used, because it's available on Amazon Web Services. So as soon as you spin up an AWS instance, you can go into Bedrock and start using these various models, and Claude is one of those. Also, you can go to Anthropic directly and purchase either their premium model or start using it as a free model. And depending on how you go through and create you can adjust Claude for yourself for your own use, which is what some companies have done and are doing in the future. So, for example, let's say that you're a company that's really concerned with financial crime.
Yeah.
So what you can say is, "Hey, find me all of the groups that have either shared illicit ways to conduct money laundering,
Okay.
or websites that have shared details of people's credit card information."
Yeah.
So it will go out and find those for you, as long as you have the data input and know where it needs to go. So you can actually make certain AI models do that. And there are, like, God, what was the AI that was developed exclusively for criminal enterprises that was available for a while? It wasn't Dark GPT, was it? It was something along those lines.
Similar to that. I'm not 100% sure.
But Anthropic went through and created an entire report, which is available on their website, and they actually put them out into certain categories. So there were 4 categories that they found that Anthropic.
Dark AI, malicious LLM. Say
Your face is a malicious LLM.
That's implying that I can learn.
Large language models don't learn. Have you tried talking to them?
See. This is fascinating.
Anyways, Anthropic found 4 different categories where Claude was being misused, especially for software engineers.
Wow. So they used Claude during real-time live network penetration operations.
Yeah, and they did it during live interviews as well.
That's crazy.
So they would sit there and they would record the responses, or have Claude up on the side and, did speech to text.
Yeah.
And it would supply them with a response. They could give it live during the interview.
Yeah. And they used it to create anti-detection of the malware they used it to create. That is awesome, dude. Like, I like when things get exploited in a way that is predictable, but someone just does it better than what you expect them to come out with.
Yeah, and this report, I mean, this is really recent. I mean, this was released this month, in August as we're recording this episode. And this past week, Anthropic changed how it's retaining its data.
Yeah.
Before, people were really, for me specifically, with some of the customers I supported in the past, Anthropic and Claude was a very, I guess, enticing and attractive company and model to use because they chose not to keep your data to train it.
Yeah.
Right? They would say, hey, we'll keep some data for, I guess, QA purposes.
Mhm.
If something comes up for 30 days, they reverse that.
Oh,
They're
nice.
keeping data for 5 years
So
now.
they're taking everything now.
Yeah. Well, they're not taking everything. They're taking a lot of the same data they were collecting, but instead of holding it for that strict 30-day time frame,
Yeah.
now they're holding it for 5 years. Which, when it comes to financial data or health data, that's where all those international policies come into place.
Yeah.
When it comes to like HIPAA in the United States, especially the Privacy Act in the United States, and also in Europe where GDPR is concerned.
Yeah.
If there's ever any violations there, they want to go back years to look at.
It would be nice if I could own my own digital data, like our Europe brethren.
Yeah, privacy in the United States on the internet is not a thing. So whenever you upload information, it becomes the property of whomever you uploaded it to.
It's my information. Like, why can't I have it?
Yeah, one of the stories I brought up before was, a person sent a picture of his kid who was having a health issue down south. So that individual had to send a photo to the pediatrician.
Oh, no.
It was uploaded in their Google Photos.
Oh, Google flagged it,
and
tagged
flagged
them.
it as child sexual abuse material.
Get
Canceled their
after 'em.
entire account.
Yeah.
Imagine that if you're because they were using Google Fi, everything was linked to that phone number and
Yeah.
their device.
They just
That
lost
was pretty
everything.
much their entire life. So, yeah. But it looks like just using Claude for itself, according to reports from both Anthropic and another company, or another website named DigWatch, up to $500,000 of ransomware demand for Bitcoin. Yep. Oh, and let's talk about vibe coding for a second.
All right.
Have you ever heard of that before?
I mean, I've heard the words Vibe and coding, and I know that there's an app called Vibe.
So there's this new, I guess, cultural trend among coders, engineers, people developing applications where it's called vibe coding, heavily using LLMs.
Yeah.
And they just group it all together to see what happens.
Okay.
And there have been a bunch of memes recently where people have been doing that in the past to create. It's for low skill people to create pretty much low effort projects that kind of does what they need to. But as it gets more sophisticated and they have all these libraries and pieces of code that are piled on top of each other, eventually it doesn't work anymore.
It gets
all these collisions between certain elements because they impact each other's. Because again, the variables and elements that are created don't work whenever you go through the code.
well, and they weren't designed to work together.
Yeah. I mean, you could sit there and say like, "Hey, create an application in Python for this purpose," and it'll give you the code. But yeah, that's what vibe coding is. Now there's a term called vibe hacking. So taking the exact opposite, where you're just going through and trying to impact someone just using an LLM. And this is like a new generation of script kiddies. Because back in the day, you would just go to a forum and say, "Hey, I have used this script to impact Bank of America,
Yeah.
and I managed to steal such and such PII, or managed to take their servers offline so people could adapt that for another bank, another financial institution, or another website." Now, the new script kiddies are taking it from LLMs because they're building it that way.
So, I mean, use the tools that are available, but be polite. Don't break the law. But use the tools that are available. Like, if I was smart enough to come up with all the stuff, then I wouldn't do that either. But because I'm not, I'm using what's available to get what I need.
I also read a news article about 2 weeks ago where there were some senior project managers and just in general supervisors in IT that were actually telling brand new workers that were opposed to AI to use AI to support their tasks. And if they refused to do it, they would put them on a PIP, performance improvement plan for doing
Because
that.
they refuse to use AI.
Yeah, they were like, we're not going to do that. We're going to go through and do it the way we're supposed to, which is what you hired us to do. You hired us to code. Why would I sit here and use a machine to do that?
Yeah.
So, and there are a lot of, there is now in universities because, again, kids are the very first one. The younger generation are always the very first one to take technology and adapt it for their use to make their life easier, right?
Yeah.
They
They have different needs. They have different goals.
Yeah.
Different targets.
They're the first ones to adopt brand new technology
Yeah.
before the older crowd does, right?
That's because I'm old and set in my ways, man. I don't even like
Don't
using.
sit there and say old and set in your ways when you've never wanted technology in your life.
I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't even like using a keyboard. So if I could just not use the computer altogether, then that would be.
What you need to go back to the old flip phone days where you had to
Oh,
press
man.
2-3 times to get that C
Dude,
for the
that
first letter.
tactile texting, I like. It's not safe to text and drive. But if I didn't have to look at the phone, I'd keep the phone in my pocket or whatever and just drive with one hand. Like, I don't understand what the problem is.
T9 texting. I miss that so much. My very first touchscreen phone.
Yeah, you can't text anymore, man. It's over with.
There are keyboards that you can still get.
Yeah, but you don't get that tactile.
You don't, but you still.
That's what you needed to be able to count the 9 buttons.
You go through them when you miss ones now. But yeah, that was the very first keyboard I got after that because I couldn't type fast enough on a regular QWERTY keyboard on a touchscreen phone.
Yeah.
But we'll link this report in this episode. But it's really fascinating because while now that LLMs and these models have been in our lives for such a long time now, and all these reports have been released
to the point that we're starting to understand that they're not going away.
Yeah, this would be common sense, but now that a company's actually released it and said, "Hey, this is a big deal, guys, monitor because people will take Claude and use it independently."
Yeah,
and these AI models, so they don't know what they're doing because Anthropic isn't monitoring those. So
if I'm a threat hunter, I'm gonna start using Claude to try to create stuff so I have an expectation of what's coming down the line.
You heavily use it for you can heavily use it for red teaming.
Yeah.
Seeing what a threat actor may do with a specific, I guess, website database.
Yep.
Infrastructure.
It's definitely if I'm one of those places that are traditionally getting hit by. Are we calling it Claude code? Because that's a fun name.
Vibing. Yeah, vibing with Claude. That's what we'll do.
That sounds like a terrible album from from the 70s. Vibing with Claude.
But yeah,
or a movie that you would have watched on Scrambled late at night.
Nobody will get that reference if you're over, or excuse me, if you're under 28. I guess.
Yeah.
I would do 28 as a cutoff.
Yeah, they never had
30 seems to.
They don't know what life is like that.
But this week, definitely wanted to cover some more of the nuanced areas of OSINT exploitation, collection, and understanding environments in general where people will go to spread information. Because one of the things that you will do ultimately in your career when you're starting to trace information down is it will lead you into areas where you can't go anymore. So you'll have to be physically present in an environment to exploit something, or you have to be invited to said area, which happens all the time. So this week is all about messaging applications. And
You've got mail.
Not those types.
Is that a little different than what we're?
Yeah, because we focus this week on mobile messaging applications, which email has become a mobile messaging application.
It is, and there are some things that feel like they're email, but they're messaging apps.
Yeah, and when we're talking about messaging applications for this podcast, it's more about direct messaging and joining groups for that purpose, rather than waiting for a message to come through like email, electronic mail. So Chris, since you love doing the research, walk us through the history here.
All right. So have you ever heard of Friedhelm Hillebrand?
While I'm reading our notes on the podcast here, I'm thoroughly unimpressed with your grammar. You need to capitalize proper nouns.
Yeah, but I capitalized 1980s, which was the important part.
You capitalized 1980s as a number. Is there any way to not capitalize numbers?
Yeah, superscript. But they have a different meaning in that place. But
Wouldn't that be the capitalization?
you don't see the lowercase zeros on there? So anyways, Mr. Friedhelm is somewhat, or I guess widely considered the guy that came up with the idea for direct messages back in the 80s. And then, I don't know, somewhere in the early 90s, you had Mr. Papworth that got out there and he actually used Vodafone's network to send a direct message to a phone, which was the first time that happened. The guy was able to receive it and he was able to read Merry Christmas, but there was no way to text back. So the first direct message in the cell phone in the mobile world happened in the 90s, and it was to just say Merry Christmas, man. It's kind of nice.
So, like, why couldn't the other person respond to Merry Christmas? Was it because they didn't have the application on their phone? They didn't have that protocol available?
There was no way to text from a phone, to send text from a phone to another device.
Oh, okay.
This guy used a computer, sent it over Vodafone's network to a cell phone.
That's interesting. So how was it displayed, do you think?
I don't know. My guess would be in a similar way that you could remember would you get words on pagers using networks? That's probably the same process there.
So going on from there, of course, when we're talking about messaging applications where we've already previously talked about or internet relay chat, right, which is available on the web, has been for years now.
Yes.
There are also other direct messaging applications that are available via the internet. For this one, we're strictly talking about mobile. So back in the day,
but using the network as well.
Yeah. Going over telecommunications networks, the very first way you would send a message that became extremely popular was SMS, short messaging service.
Yeah, these things were tiny, man. You could only, like, I'm not sure how many times you ever got into an argument with a girl through text message 20 years ago. But when you would do that, you would start typing and you got this whole long, this is where I didn't screw up because, blah, 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 blah. And you would see it break into one message, two messages, 3 minutes. Like the messages were just so short that here you're sending 6, 7 messages, and that stuff, at some point cost you 10 cents a pop, unless you waited till after 9. Like you're getting into it, man.
Like my arguments start at 9:01, and
don't argue with me before 9.
That was one of the reasons why I was happy. Where there were some cell phone carriers, or cell phone devices specifically, where you got to the 160 characters. It was like, nope, got to send this before you can continue on. You can't keep typing. And I was one of those. Verizon actually had that in the United States where you couldn't continue typing, but Singular back then allowed you to. But Singular has been gone on. Sprint allowed you to, and AT&T did, but Verizon was very strict.
Verizon has some weird policies. Anyways, good.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into policies and the politics. Of
that's a different conversation.
That's a whole opinionated.
Yeah, that's all it is. Just arguing.
But then we wanted to send. I guess the best way is we wanted to send pictures to each other.
Yeah.
During those arguments, hey, we made up. Now we got to send a picture to show that we made up.
It's a picture of my heart, or a picture of these flowers that I did buy you that are definitely on the table. So we got to expand that SMS tenfold, and send photos and all. Keep in mind, a lot of this stuff in your SMS and your MMS it's not really encrypted data. It's relatively.
When this was sent, because this was being sent probably over 2G, none of this information was encrypted.
Yeah.
Anybody, it was just airwaves.
If you wanted it and you knew how to do it, you could have it. So you would get to see all of those makeup photos.
So, but MMS allowed you to, and actually allowed you to create group chats as well.
Yeah, that was brand new like, dude, planning. All right. So planning an outing went from where's everybody's bicycles at to, all right, we need one person to be the point man on this, and I'm going to relay all the information to everybody. And then we were able to do group chat where you could, get 6 people in there. I think at one point that was a selling point for like AT&T where they're like, your group of 5, you can text them all at once.
Yeah, super huge back then. Of course, like they had to find a way to monetize it. So
Yeah.
your 10 cents per message now became like if you're part of a group chat, that became 10 cents for everybody, even if you didn't send a single message.
Yeah.
So I knew people, and I was actually one of those where if I got invited to a group chat, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, I got nothing to do with this.
No, do not
Yeah.
continue sending me messages.
And then they came out with, if you're in the priority contacts, then you get cheaper messages. So everyone's in the.
Oh, yeah, remember that the family plans they rolled out with, and that's where you could get free text messaging within that family plan.
Yeah.
So you would have a group of
Dude,
coworkers.
that changed, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. A lot of single coworkers would do that. They would all go get a family plan.
Now, on top of that, the next one we're going to talk about is RCS, but there is one in between here where data came about.
Yes.
Right. So before, we just could send information over a telecommunications network through the standard voice protocol,
Yep.
which would send information, and it was very, very limited in how much information could be sent. But there were additional bandwidths that became available as telecommunications started to evolve, and that's where BlackBerry came in. So
Dude, it was huge, man.
the BlackBerry got extremely popular.
They got
Not
too big
only-
for their britches.
Yeah, not only because it became the smallest, it was the world's smallest email terminal. They eventually rolled out free unlimited text messaging,
Yep.
and that was because they were using it over a bandwidth that was data rather than voice, which didn't allow congestion on the network.
Yep.
So that was before RCS. Now, RCS came about, and this is where Google and Apple get into fights.
Okay.
Apple has its own texting protocol through iPhones.
Yes.
And Google has an open source standard called RCS that it uses for all of its texts.
Yes.
And there has been a fight going on between the two where this is very prevalent in the United States. Maybe not abroad because Android devices are used more heavily across the rest of the world.
I'm not carrying your messages, or I'm not carrying your emojis.
It's mainly through reactions and videos and photos. Because if you've ever sent a photo to a group and then all of a sudden when you send it, it looks degraded, or a video, it's only like maybe 30 seconds long and like it's pixelated, it's because
someone's got an iPhone in that group.
No,
you should
an
banish
Android.
them.
Someone's got an Android.
Well, if everyone has an Android and one person has an iPhone, you banish the iPhone and you're good to go.
Yeah, or the other way around. And that's actually a unique phenomenon in the United States that I would love a cyber psychologist to study.
Oh yeah, we'd have to.
People actually get bullied because of the type of the device that they have in the United States based on the color of the text, which is just insane.
I just don't like when, like, because the reactions don't really translate, you get double the messages, and I'm just like, I don't need all this. Like, what do you like? I already hate the fact that notifications are on for just this group message for the next hour, because like I'll just turn them off after an hour.
I just need to hide like 5 cell phones in your house and just send messages to them all day long.
I don't get those stray shots after the core of the conversation is done. Like it goes mute until I check it.
So RCS allows you to. It's a much more secure method to send messages, and it's encrypted and offers high quality MMS over data directly. And iPhone could use it.
Yeah.
But they haven't adopted it as a global standard for the entire iPhone lineup, but Android has. But Google did roll out Google messaging instead. So
what I really like about RCS, other than the fact that you can get better quality images, better quality videos, you can text more, is that if you're working with someone or you're texting someone who doesn't have access to data, it just converts whatever your message is to MMS. It degrades it a little bit depending on what you're sending, but it does that auto switch if need be, just to be a communication forum or communication device.
And you have to opt into RCS if you want to use it on your device. I think for a lot of newer devices that came out, it's on by default.
Yeah, it's standard. My messaging app on my Android updated, and it became standard by default on there.
But if you're enrolled into other data messaging apps like iMessage or Google Messages, RCS has to be turned off. So that's
correct.
why it's not on mine, because I'm enrolled in Google Messages, because I'm in front of my computer more than I'm in front of my mobile device. I only use my phone now to
Communicate with me.
watch cat videos.
Can we just go back to rotaries? I'm down for that. Or some pigeons? We could train
Oh,
pigeons.
Dude, texting on a rotary phone? Could you imagine that?
Oh, that would be amazing.
I'm going to send a sentence. It took me 2 weeks.
I mean, that's how you get those long-term plans out there.
Now, centralized versus decentralized messaging. This is something we discussed in a previous podcast, and it caused an argument between Chris and I, like most of our podcasts.
Is it really centralized or decentralized?
Because there's this concept of where if a lot of users are on a network and they're sending messages back and forth where no one person controls it, it could be considered decentralized, because I consider decentralized peer-to-peer, where everybody has input in the network. But if it's still stored on a centralized server somewhere, that's still a centralized messaging application. Or
if you're logging in password and your messages, your history of messages are somewhere, then that's centralized, right?
Exactly. So some people will say, because I communicated over Tor using this client, then it's decentralized. But in reality, everything's being stored on a central server somewhere.
We got to come up with a hybrid name for those things that are quasi-federated, offer increased encryption, but are still centralized.
Yeah. But those are the two different type of messaging applications that we're going to talk about in this one. So centralized messaging applications, this is what people primarily use right now, and they're the most popular, mainly because they are the ones that are kept up to date. They're offered in tandem with other services as well.
Widely available.
And they are available on multiple different devices. So like you don't have to just have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer.
You can have it
now
on
you can even have it on your smart devices.
Your Google glasses.
Exactly. your smart devices. I have 2 Google video devices in my house where I can call someone else and see them, and they can talk to me right through Google Meet or Google Duo.
As we go through these, let's try to guess which one or ones that I have.
So one of the biggest ones across the entire world is WhatsApp.
So, this is the one that you always like, because occasionally I interact with people from Europe. A lot of times people from the UK, and they talk about WhatsApp all the time, and they're just like, why aren't you guys there? And I said, that's not the environment we grew up in, man.
WhatsApp got really popular when I was my freshman and sophomore year of college. WhatsApp started getting popular along with Facebook Messenger, and especially after Facebook bought it. So, WhatsApp, you can have a group up to 512 members.
I don't even know that many people.
Yeah. Do you know why they chose 512
members? And then,
members?
like bytes or whatever?
Yeah, it's based on how information stored, because you have 4 bytes, right? 8 bytes, and it doubles after that. That's the reason why it stops at 512, because that's a good way to store data.
Yeah. It's also a nerd joke. Like how many smoots is it from here to there, you know?
And WhatsApp has a lot of integrations that are available inside of it now. So you can play games with the people.
What are these things called now? They're like the massive multimedia apps or whatever, where it's just, I mean, you can do everything in them. Some of them started out as secure messaging, direct messaging apps, but now you can shop in them. You can do all that fun stuff in it. There's a name for it.
Personally, I call those social media websites. But yeah, these huge online ecosystems.
Yes, that are developing out of these direct messaging apps.
It's not just when we get into one later on from a foreign country, that's how it evolved as well. So, but WhatsApp, since it's been integrated with meta services, all of them, it's crazy how information can be spread through there. WhatsApp actually had to limit the number of unique links that could be shared on there due to misinformation concerns after the 2016 presidential election.
Oh, nice.
So, following the massive amount of interference during that, especially foreign,
There's a lot
limited-
going on,
yeah,
man.
they limited the number of times a link could be reshared between groups on WhatsApp.
Oh, so they give it a terminal date.
Exactly. So you say, hey, I'm going to share this link to this group. So that's one share.
Yeah.
It can be shared up to 6 times, and then the link can no longer be shared. But there was a professor from.
You got to keep that concept in mind for later.
But there was a professor, I think it was either at Stanford or MIT, that did a study on how much reach that could still have. It could still reach almost 6 million people.
It'll get you to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
100%
Share it
of the
6
time.
times. Share
Yeah,
it 6
yeah.
times.
It'll get you to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Dude, Kevin Bacon must have so many links on WhatsApp.
We got to find a way to get to him.
Yeah, we got to ask him about it.
And then a close follow-up to WhatsApp, especially United States.
This one's integrated into everything at this point.
Is Facebook Messenger.
I hate it. I don't have, nor do I use Facebook.
And you need to get over that.
It's
Yeah.
it's there's too many people that let's go back to MySpace. MySpace kept you in your environment. It was easier to hack than Facebook, but let's just go back. I miss Tom, dude. I know he's off. He doesn't care. Tom doesn't miss me. He got a bunch of money for selling off MySpace.
And he was everybody's friend.
I miss
on
Tom.
MySpace. Yeah. I always included him in my top 10.
Tom, yeah. I mean, Tom has the most friends of anybody else.
And Facebook Messenger, it's integrated into Meta services. So as soon as you get an Instagram account, if you get a Facebook account, if you get a WhatsApp account, you can instantly create a Messenger account by logging into it. And it's the utility and the functionality for Messenger is almost the same as WhatsApp, except you can connect directly to someone's Facebook profile by viewing it. So it connects their social media service as well. And then our favorite one that Chris and I use every day is Signal.
Yes. Oh, it's beautiful. I like transferring files on Signal. It's my favorite thing to do there.
I wish they could increase the size of files that you can share, because I've taken so many video game clips and I've tried to share them on Signal. Says that's too large. Consider reducing the file size, which is actually another.
Same thing happens to me on. Never mind. Go ahead.
Which is another episode I'd love to have for free open source tools for sharing multimedia with each other. Because Handbrake is a free tool that I use all the time to compress files so I can share either via MMS or over Signal. But Signal, the reason why we really enjoy it is because it is a private messenger where information, especially your content that you send other people, isn't stored on a server anywhere. It's only on each other's devices. Signal, the foundation, acts as a middleman
to transfer that information.
And that's all they do. And they have actually received subpoenas from law enforcement. Hey, we know that these two numbers, or these two users, because you no longer have to have a phone number to sign up for Signal.
When did that change?
That was a couple of years ago.
Was that like a week ago?
No.
I'm just kidding.
It's been over a couple of years now, where now you can sign up with a username, which has been long touted as a way to be truly private on the platform.
Yeah, that's what people have been asking for, because they didn't want to associate their phone number with it.
Yeah, because when it's first activated, Signal does get that information, so you can see. I believe Signal does provide law enforcement the information it has, which is the last time the service was used. They can't see the content because it's encrypted from one user to another through perfect forward secrecy. And they also get when they registered on there, and then what information was sent when they registered, which they have to send a 2FA code back before for the phone number.
So they have something that they can turn over, but it's not a lot.
Yeah. So
no content.
Yeah. So you can see, if you wanted to, what numbers are registered with Signal. Now, the bane of my existence for OSINT a lot of the times, especially trying to exploit it, is Telegram, which, if you wanted to call a close runner-up for what are considered private messengers, Telegram is always number 2, but it's not a private messenger.
Yeah, you have to select private groups to get that added encryption, but otherwise it's public and searchable.
Yeah, I mean, Pavel was arrested in France last year,
Yeah.
and when he was arrested, the French court said, "Hey, will you share any information related to illegal activities, either under Interpol,
Yep.
if we find any evidence that illegal activities are occurring on your service?" And he straight up said, "Yep."
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you
Like,
whatever you want, man.
I need to leave France.
Yeah. You got to stop going to France, man. That's where Russian basketball players get arrested for ransomware, and now
They don't even know how to use computers. By the
yeah,
way.
yeah, that guy didn't even know how to use a computer, and he got arrested for spreading ransomware.
So Telegram, it does offer what it says is end-to-end encrypted chats, but if it's stored central on a server somewhere that you can recover, sometimes that information can be recovered by the service as well. But I would say the ecosystem within Telegram very, very similar to WhatsApp.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can create groups. You can have webhooks on there. You can have integrations from chatbots.
What I like about Telegram, from an exploitation standpoint, is you can get some decent bots out there that get invited to some of those groups to leak you information.
Yep. Reverse prompt engineering is now an OSINT term. And there are a bunch of, if you guys would like an episode on it, we can do that. It's not something that we've heavily used in the past because, again, Chris and I come from government circles, and spreading information via third parties is not something that government entities like to do.
No, we're not fans of that, man. Or
yeah.
they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
start-
yeah. I don't want to spread misinformation. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not out here trying to lie to you about apple colors.
Yeah, but there are a bunch of prompt engineering how-tos available on the internet. And now I was just in Barnes and Noble with my daughter yesterday, and there was an entire bookshelf, a section at Barnes and Noble dedicated to prompt engineering for AI.
That is, I want to go. I
For
want to go.
coding, for how-tos.
I'm gonna go in there and take pictures of it, and they'll be like, "You're still in your data." I was like, "So did this book." I'm just taking it back.
But Telegram, especially, Telegram is popular in the United States, but not as popular as it is in Eastern Europe
No,
and throughout Asia.
Yeah, it's everywhere. Everywhere else but here.
Yeah.
I mean,
well-
it's here. It's here, but it's
There are a ton of Telegram groups that are here because they consider it private, that spread through diaspora. But
I'm being hyperbolic.
yeah. But the next one, which is my favorite to use on my computer, is Discord. So Discord got extremely popular for the gaming community, and it has evolved ever since then.
Yeah.
And
Video and voice chat.
it's attracted kind of a stigma because of how people navigate from other mediums to Discord.
Nerds
Exactly.
or companies or users of a platform that Media Lab bought. They leave that and they move on. They go to Discord.
We can save that for the end. We'll talk about that at the end because that's a great one. We can spend 15 minutes on that. Cut that out.
All right, back to Discord.
So Discord is novel in the fact that it does have groups that you can join. They're called servers, and
It's not terribly protected information though.
no, everything that's available on Discord can be found by the company itself. So when it comes to Signal, Telegram, WhatsApp, even to a certain sense, Facebook Messenger, because they offer
There's-
secret chats.
Yeah, there's some encryption that you can either opt into or it's built by default.
Discord is encrypted and offered by the service itself, but Discord has access to all the information that's used through its service and can be recovered by them at any time. So even if you delete a message or you delete your server, if you create it, you remove information, Discord can recover that within a certain time period.
That's what's that time period?
So for a third party not part of Discord,
Yeah,
usually they provide it within 30 days.
that's too much
30 days
time. I
total.
don't want
But
Discord to have my data though.
And Discord, depending on how effective their storage solutions are, I mean, they could go back to 2015, 2016 when the service was first created.
Am I allowed to delete my content?
Oh, Discord, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I
But-
have some agency over it.
You can prevent it from being viewed by other users of Discord, but the company itself
Still
can
has
still
it.
review it and get to
See, I
it.
don't like that at all.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you're using it for. It comes down to your use case, right?
Well, I don't use it, so.
Yeah.
No, I have.
Come on, chill. We were just on there last week.
I have Discord. I use it for very few things.
We use it.
Yeah, and I'm in some OSINT groups on there, which is great. I'm not as active as I want to be in those groups, but I'm in some OSINT groups on there on
Yeah,
Discord.
and we could follow up for this one. It's just introduction to messaging applications. You've never heard of them for this podcast, but we will follow up in a future episode for exploiting these and tools that are available.
Absolutely.
Next one is Slack. So Slack was developed as a productivity application.
Yeah, this is one that important people talk about how they use all the time, and I think I've used it for a couple conferences, like there were video conferences for OSINT stuff. So we had Slack channels up with other stuff, but really I don't know anything about Slack.
Sands does. If you haven't heard of Sands, they specialize in cybersecurity certifications and also education opportunities. They have a Slack available that's public that you can join. And every single conference that they have, they do have an OSINT one. They've been doing it like almost every 6 to 8 months now, but they call it a yearly thing. They post stuff on there as well.
So it's Sands Slack.
Yeah, you can find them. If you want to join their Slack, all you have to do is join any one of their public events.
Would they call that taught?
What?
Because it's without Slack. Anyway, go ahead. Move on. Go ahead. Sands Slack.
Yeah. And Slack, if you've ever used Discord, you'll be very familiar with the Slack interface because they are servers that are on there, and you can set up different channels and also voice channels, and you can direct message people on there as well. And and I know we didn't get heavily into Discord when we talked about it, but it does offer places that are public, places that are private. There are moderators that are on there. Think of it as like a community of people for both of these. So, and they're dedicated to a specific type of activity. So it could be for a group of friends that just want to connect with each other. I have one for my family, which is way underutilized because
they don't.
For all of these, by the way, in the United States, you have to be 13 years old to use.
They're not on there checking out your code that you've been trying to get them to run.
No. So. But for Slack, it's designed primarily for productivity for companies, and it has a lot of integrations as well.
All right, let me take you back here for a second. At some point, you were in elementary school, and the teacher gave out coloring pages. Now, did you ever not know what something is or how to color it? So you kind of looked at your neighbor and they're coloring it, and you're like, oh, let me try to see what colors they're using, and I'm going to color this page based on how they're doing it.
I don't know what you're trying to get at.
Well, that's how WeChat was made. WeChat was looking at someone else's really cool stuff, and they're like, oh, I could color something
copy
this
in a
way.
word. Oh, now I get what you're saying.
I could color it this way. That's WeChat.
So we were going on. I wasn't aware that we had transitioned already. So WeChat might be the biggest one.
Yeah, no, it is.
WhatsApp.
It's out there, man.
So WeChat was developed in the place where the Tiananmen Square massacre didn't occur.
What massacre?
Right? I've seen those photos and it's just blank.
There's not even a square there.
Yeah. And it has over 1 billion users. So tell us about WeChat, Chris.
That is a massive user base for an app that's pretty much only prevalent in one country.
They are a large people, right? There are a bunch of them. So
it
is a large. Some of them are, just like in the United States. Yes. We are a large people.
We are a large people, but for a different category.
So tell us about WeChat, man, because I feel like you've been heavily using this in your new job.
Yeah, it's I haven't at all. I don't know anything about it other than it's one of those super apps, which is the word I was trying to come up with when we were talking about WhatsApp. So it kind of has that. It's definitely kind of mirrored off of some of these other apps. The wonderful thing that you'll get on WeChat is you won't get any encryption. So we're going back to our SMS, MMS.
Even if it did offer encryption because it's a Chinese-based company.
It's not really encrypted.
Yeah, there's always a backdoor into everything that because the Chinese government requires it. So
yeah, but it's one of those things that was built to mirror other apps because I think in the mid-aughts, if that's how we say that, mid to late aughts, China started pushing out foreign companies, foreign investors, and they started to try to do all indigenous digital environments for communication.
And WeChat, like Chris was saying, that super app, it offers a bunch of services as well. So if you want to, all you have to do is go to Google
whatever search engine you want to use, DuckDuckGo, Baidu,
Yeah,
and search
Baidu would be
WeChat,
great.
and you can sign up for the service instantly. It's not strictly limited to mainland China, and it does offer a lot of unique integrations. By default, the language is going to give you the language is going to be Chinese, but you can change it to English if you want to use it. And for a lot of OSINT purposes, it does offer a lot of value for looking into Chinese doings, but be aware of what you're sharing and what devices you're using as well.
If you're a member of the United States Department of Defense,
don't use your personal DoD device.
The owners of WeChat would love for you to get an account. I promise you.
So that's it for the centralized applications. Now, one of the things that I always talk about is privacy and security on this podcast. It's one of my passions. So let's talk about some decentralized applications, Chris, that you've done some studying on.
I love how passionate you are about all this stuff.
Right. I tried to be.
All right. So do we need a good, clear definition of decentralized? I know we kind of talked about peer-to-peer, or are we just...
I think the biggest part of it comes down to how the information is stored and then how people can access it. So if one individual, one entity, whatever it may be, can get all the information, I don't believe it's decentralized. So it needs to have involvement from the community where it can be stored across multiple people that can be accessed from multiple instances. So that's similar to how blockchain works. But
fortunately that you mentioned blockchain. Session is a decentralized messaging app which uses blockchain technology.
Yeah. And it offers end-to-end encryption with messaging, voice, and video calls, according to your notes here.
I would be curious to see how that instant message works based on whatever their blockchain technology is. Because, people have to mine the blocks in order for the messages to send and receive.
So a lot of the blockchain applications that you use outside of, because when people think of blockchains now and cryptocurrency, it does require what they say is like really in-depth processing and powerful devices. Yeah. That's only for things that have value. When it comes to something like this, it's free and open source for people to use. It's not that intensive.
My words have value, sir.
That they do if other people value them.
I know at least 4 people that my words are valuable to. 3 of them are animals, and most of that is feeding time.
Yeah, and one of them actually pays you money. So if your word's no longer valuable, they don't pay you. But for Session specifically, and a lot of other proof of work concepts where you have to do something to have access to or to be involved in the community. Yeah, it's not like cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's not. There's not that delay.
Yeah, and also when you're talking about just information that's being shared and stored on a user's device, the blockchain doesn't have to be that large because it transmits data and verifies information. So the information that is stored within Session doesn't have to be physically and permanently there on the blockchain forever. Because once somebody deletes the application, while the information can be verified, the user was there, you can't see their content.
There you go.
Yeah, in Session, if you want to join Session, you just download the application. It's available for computer, for desktop, Linux, Mac, and Windows. Well, maybe not for Mac. I haven't checked that recently, but it is available for desktop. And all you have to do is find someone's session code. It's a long alphanumeric string, and then you join them.
And then that's how you connect and communicate.
Yeah, it just says, hey, what's this person's session code? You copy and paste it, and you join the chat.
What would be the value, other than the decentralization, of using a blockchain messaging app?
It prevents you... It's actually about the community more than anything else. Mm-hmm. If you go on... I hate to say it this way, because I do think Session can be valuable if you do value your privacy and security. But if you go on 4chan and check out the random board, there are lolly threads on there.
Yeah.
And I've actually went on there to exploit some of those.
Oh, nice.
So like I didn't go on there to try to find images associated with child sexual abuse material.
Yeah.
I tried to find users and usernames associated with that content, because if they're sharing AI generated content for made up CCM content, what do you think they're doing on the side as well?
There's a high probability that
they're
something
sharing
else
links.
exists.
So that's what I did. So I have seen session links shared heavily on 4chan. And session links are also shared through other forums as well, through cybersecurity forums, hacking forums. I've seen people say, hey, connect with me on Session for payment details for those. So I will say Session is more popular than I guess the next two we're going to talk about. It's used for more illicit activities than anything else.
Fair enough.
Which is what happens when we talk about things that are private and secure. They're ultimately used for illicit activities as well as
that's because
benign activities.
the people who don't use that are hopefully the ones that get caught.
Yes.
Like if you're out there on the clear net doing this, hopefully you're getting caught and shut down.
And then the next application.
Speaking of decentralized, this is the most decentralized thing you can get, man. Element, right?
Well, the application isn't decentralized.
Well, but the communication with it, because you don't need the particular Element app to communicate.
That's right.
You could have actually there's some bridges for Telegram and WhatsApp that you can use to communicate with this, but it's built on the Matrix protocol, which just means pretty much anyone out there.
It's a centralized network.
If you have access to it, you can communicate direct message.
Yeah, you can send any information you want over it.
Yeah.
So
it's fascinating, man.
But Element is the most popular application that's used over the Matrix protocol. And if you want to check it out, it's not dissimilar to other dark nets that you can access, but it's just primarily used for direct communications between peoples around the globe. And then one that me and Chris kind of got into right before we got on this was with Briar. And this is just one application that's being used for this protocol.
Oh, yes. So this one is super fascinating for me. I think it was either developed or built in with whistleblowers in mind, as well as natural disasters. So Briar can use, like all the other messaging apps, it can use your digital data to communicate. But it also has this thing called Bluetooth Low Energy Mesh Network Communication, which is just super fascinating. So
it's been around for years, by the way, but it's become a new novel way to communicate again.
Yeah. So I mean, you can still communicate messages, videos, photos through this mesh network. You can do it all offline. You just need Bluetooth communication. You need other devices in the area to be part of that mesh network. And so it's drought resistant. So if one link in my communication chain drops down, it'll find another path to get there. And then, like Tim was talking about with the links that are shared, it can only go so far. So each iteration, it has a terminal code that either it gets to its device or it disappears. So it just blasts out from device to device. And I think it's like 500 directions or something like that. And it has a distance limit when you're not using digital data, if you're just using the BLE mesh.
Yeah, but whatever the max theoretical distance of Bluetooth is a max range you can send a message on for it.
Well, so it can hop as far as it can hop.
And Bluetooth range is pretty small compared to regular telecommunications.
Yeah, on a regular BLE mesh network, if you're just going within the range of one device, you're looking at maybe a kilometer.
If within the network itself, but from one device to another, they usually have to be within I think the max effective range is up to 100 meters.
Yeah,
but if it's just like within the effective range, where you want to be at is 20 meters or less.
Yeah. Some of the ways that people have used it that I've seen is, again, that whistleblower. So they want that quiet communication that's not over an internet protocols. That way it's not getting intercepted. Generally, they're in the same building or the same room when those transfers happen.
And I will say, for any law enforcement out there or people that have found people that are doing nefarious activities, if they have this application on their phone and they have messages from one other person that say, I've never met this person before in my life, you can almost say they're lying.
Yeah, yeah. If they're both in that same, if they have a joint chat going on, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you find this application or they're using any BLE messaging application, almost for sure they've seen each other face to face.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get my kids to use it the next time I take them to GalaxyCon, because I mean the
network congestion there is just insane.
It's outrageous. Like, you can't send text messages, phone calls barely get through. So if I get the three of us on a BLE mesh, we'll be good to go. We communicate all day, man.
Yeah, with signal congestions though, I forget which network frequency Bluetooth operates over. Even Wi-Fi can sometimes interfere with it. I don't know if it's millimeter wave or bigger than that, but
No, the low energy, you should be good to go. That's part of the design of this.
yeah. But anywho, for messaging applications, that's all that we had here. And again, for future episodes, we're going to talk about exploitation of some of these. A lot of the content that you're going to get back from devices, if you exploit via the network or via the medium, does require either sensitive techniques, which are deemed illegal in some areas, or you have to work through law enforcement authority to get access to it. But if you have the physical device in your hands,
That's a whole different thing, man.
yeah, exactly, and you have their permission, then of
Oh,
course,
you can do whatever you want with her permission.
yeah. If you say, "Hey, here's my device, go to town, see what
Yeah,
happens."
It's completely ethical if they give you permission.
Yeah. But talking about an interesting thing that happened over the last week, and I was informed of this because I don't know if Chris follows me on Imgur, but I follow him. And I got a notification. It was early in the morning, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I can't
yeah.
believe that you were on it. I don't know if you spent all night on Imgur, like following this movement, but I got a notification and it said, "Hey, business daddy." Right. And if you guys don't watch John Oliver, it's a reference to that. And Chris will let you discuss it, but Chris will let you discuss it. But it was John Oliver said, "Hey, business daddy." And it was talking about Media Lab, which acquired was it a vested interest or they just completely bought the entire company?
Yeah, I think they have the whole thing, man. In
Okay.
2022.
So tell us about the movement on Imgur last week.
So they broke it. Media Lab broke it by selling advertisements and some other options. They also fired a lot of the tech staff, and it looked like at some point they were using AI to detect whether or not the user-generated content on this app, which is the whole purpose of it, met their standards. And what was great is they were selling advertisers to porn sites as well. So you would get porn advertisements, but if you post a nipple on there, you're getting banned. So there was this huge backlash. I think what really started it is when the notification system broke on there, which I'll be honest, I didn't notice because I don't turn on notifications. I mean, granted, I get notifications in the app, but I don't have any of that push stuff. But notifications were broken at some point, and then it went downhill from there. So it all started with John Oliver memes going "fuck you, business daddy," and then it branched out from there. And then there's a day of silence, which is tomorrow.
For Labor Day, which nobody working is not going to go on there. I mean, but let's talk about some of the content that was shared on there because that was the most novel approach that they had in regards to protesting what Media Lab was doing with Imgur. So the very first thing we have is John Oliver, right? And then you said nipples, but
so AI started to shut down John Oliver posts.
So when they saw it, you told me that you had posts removed and you suspected. How quick was it, by the way, after you posted it?
Mine was out there for about 4 hours.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't AI that found it that quickly because they actually, I don't know if you were monitoring Imgur over the past 3 days, but they had their own promotion.
Yep.
Did you read it?
Yep.
Yeah, they said, "Hey, it wasn't AI doing that. We actually have our moderation team available." But the comments on that were scathing. Users. I loved it.
It was brutal.
So we had John Oliver, which started getting removed, and then we had Nips.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Well, so that was in an effort to overload the servers and overload the system, put more stuff through the review process, and then everyone else was protesting every time their stuff got removed as well.
So then we had Nips. Now, one of the things that I saw following that was I was looking at images, but there were no images.
Yes. Yeah. So okay. So the Nips, and then there were things that were suggestive but not apparent, which was also meant to delay. And then the black box, it's the no post, post. That and even some people had some really great descriptions for their just black square.
Yeah, those were awesome too. This is where some of the social aspects come in because I do find people to follow on there. And one of the ones that I follow, which I highly recommend, if you guys are on Imgur at all, follow. Let me make sure I don't know if it's a he.
There's some decent news aggregators on there that I like to follow.
Yeah, and one of the ones I'm going to talk about here in a second, but Baby Fark McGee Zacks, by and large, one of the biggest content creators on there. They post
galactic quality gifts, and they are excellent. They usually post maybe once or twice a day, depending on the type of commission they get, because they actually get money for this. They say,
That's
"I want you to create a
fascinating,
gift for
man.
this," and they post it on Imgur.
Oh,
They
they were
posted.
crank, they
I
were
think they
cranking
posted over
stuff out.
60.
Yeah, they were cranking stuff out too, trying to slow everything down and just
Oh, yeah.
crash it.
And I mean, like, it's when you're talking about something that's running at over 60 frames per second, that's over 3 megabytes, and you post multiple of those a day, and everybody reposting them in comments.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they come
dude,
through.
it's been fascinating to watch. A lot of people are upset at Media Lab. I mean, and rightfully so, because Media Lab tends to crap the bed on a lot of the apps that they buy up, and so it's been. I've loved watching a community react like this in real time.
And the community on Imgur, if you think that Reddit is bad in regards to some of the ways in which they behave for unique niche content on there. For example, on Reddit, one of the things that happens is whenever you are the fourth comment in a thread, you get downvoted. That is just a unique thing on Reddit. On Imgur, for example, my favorite day on Imgur is July 29th.
That's that's if you want to see some weird stuff, that's the day you want to be on there, man.
Yeah, July 29th is, and it started, I think, 7 years ago, where everything by mistake on Imgur, for some reason, even if you downloaded it, was upvoted. So some of the worst stuff in the user submitted section, user sub, made it to the front page.
Yeah.
And every single July, and it happened on July 29th.
Yeah.
So July 29th, it's upvote everything day.
I like the next day. I like the sea slugs, man. To drive all that that content back out of the system.
we got to get the high quality posts back in there.
Yeah.
And of course, Imgur has their Christmas selfie day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have. I missed the Secret Santa, man. That was
this
my
past
favorite
year?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. The two, wasn't it the last one you did was where you helped out the dude with the SSDs, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that was one, and I loved it because I knew immediately if you own a PC, one of the things you will always lack, no matter what, whether you're a brand new to PCs and building or you've been a veteran of 20, 30 years, you're always lacking storage. So
Yeah.
it's like, dude, get this dude an SSD.
Yeah, I was like,
instantly, he's like, thank you so much.
I'm
I
like,
need this.
he's a nerd like you, man. What do I need?
Yeah, so it was
And Tim's
great.
like, oh, toss him this, and like that dude was really excited about those cards, man.
Yeah, but Imgur, so we actually had 2 news stories this week, which is great. Popular culture, and then
Dude.
also with Anthropic last week.
404 Media picked up the Imgur
Yeah,
story,
dude.
man. Like
That was
it's
actually on
gotten
our
out
front page
there.
too. It was Imgur was I actually had so my favorite AI to use, which Chris got into an argument with it, is Anthropic. Anthropic is a search engine that uses AI to actually provide you sources. I've saw Gemini and ChatGPT are getting better about it now. So
Yeah.
if you search something that's relatively recent, they try to look for an article that's relevant to it and provide it to you. But I feel Perplexity does it better.
Yep.
So I actually had to go to Perplexity and ask. Usually I'm more up on
Yeah.
stuff than
Didn't-
Chris is. But
Didn't these guys offer to buy Gemini?
Perplexity?
Yeah.
No, it was Anthropic.
Did they?
Yeah, because I don't think Google will ever
Yeah,
anybody buy
I
Gemini.
mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I know that there was a cold offer out there. It's kind of like the offer I make to people who are like, "Oh, I'm getting ready to sell my house." I'm like, "I got this crisp $1 bill if you want to pass it my way."
But yeah, I don't know about Gemini, but I know that and people were looking to purchase. OpenAI was looking to purchase some stuff.
Yeah.
Anthropic was, but
Yep.
I can't remember exactly if it was a model or if it's another company. But anywho, thanks for listening, guys. If you made it through our hour plus of content today, it's been a while since Chris and I managed to get together to talk. But if you liked our content, feel free to subscribe, like, comment below. Again, just want to remind everybody we do have donations that you can donate through cryptocurrency. Going to get our Patreon up soon.
We have a blog now too.
Do have a blog.
We're one episode worth of blogging. It'll be more.
Yeah, hopefully, because I do not enjoy writing a whole lot. I prefer to be an off the cusp kind of guy. But I will have to do a blog now that Chris did one. But thank you.
I'll do it.
But thank you for listening. This is the OSINT Output, hosted by Tim and Chris.
Yeah, Tim and Chris. Yeah, you got it right. Yeah, don't Bugs Bunny me.